welcome to another episode at
Film Sandwich.
And on this episode, we are going to evaluate the best studio camera for under about $3,500 as far as getting it rigged out. And why are we doing this? Because we have a studio, we do live shows, and we've been on pretty much
The hunt
for a year.
For like a good all-around studio camera. We got this JVC here that does a lot of cool stuff. It has live streaming built into it, and it has camera control and all that. But
1-inch sensor.
1-inch sensor. We got this GH5 here. I've had this thing since it came out, since like 2017. It's a great little camera. It has great color. It's tiny, but it's not really an all-around studio camera, I would say.
And you'll find out more about that when we get into it.
And then we got the Z camera right
Z
here.
camera.
And it also, like the GH5, it's tiny, it's got great color, the image looks great, but I don't know if it's an all-around great studio camera.
And it's also got a CCU to it as well, which is tab-based, which you'll find out more about. And then the new kid on the block that we just got in, actually a rental, is the new Blackmagic Studio 4K camera. Pro. It's a Pro because you can see all the connections on it.
There's two versions.
Micro Four Thirds. And we're gonna put it through its paces, obviously built for the studio. And we're gonna get right to it and evaluate these cameras. I think we're evaluating on two criteria. Basically image quality and also easeability in studio as far as camera control and being able to like put in a studio environment and be efficient.
So let's go ahead and get into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we're gonna get right to the test. So I am in front of the camera on this test and Ron is behind the camera.
I have this beautiful Blackmagic 4K Pro switcher. I have this beautiful 17-inch monitor. There's a computer here for camera control. We have camera control via a phone for the GH5. And then I'm recording on an Atomos Shogun for all of the viewers. We'll make this footage downloadable for you too, so you can kind of do your own color correction tests. So here we go, Mark. Right now, we see all of the cameras on the screen. So what do we want to do first?
So what we're gonna do is kind of go through them one at a time, and Ron and I are gonna kind of talk about our feelings about each camera and what we see, what we like, what we don't like, and just give you our real world opinion. Obviously, we're not sponsored by any of these camera manufacturers, but if they do want to sponsor us, we would be love to.
We'll love a sponsor, Storyblocks, or what's the Squarespace, anybody out there. If you want to send us a product or a camera, we will review it for you and send the video for your viewing pleasure.
Yep, in our super scientific official manner, of course, because that's how we review all the videos. So let's get started. We're gonna switch from multi-view to program so you see it in full screen, and let's get started.
Okay, first camera up here, we have the Panasonic GH5. It's on camera 1. I'm gonna switch this screen so I can see the view. So what I can see right now from the GH5 is that it looks good. Like the color looks good, the white looks white, the color chart looks proper. GH5 came out in like 2017, and it was like a one of those future-proof cameras that you could like buy it and use it for a long time because it did 4K. They upgraded for 10-bit color, and like I think it's like a high-end codec too. You can do the intra frames. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, intra frame.
It's just a really good camera, and it's small and compact. It doesn't overheat. I've put it through its paces over the years. I mean, it's 2021 and I'm still rocking this camera. I have three. I have two of the GH5s and one GH5S, and they're phenomenal. Mark wants to hate on them, but he can't. He really can't.
I do have to say they have a good image. They really do. But for multicam, studio scenario, may not be the best.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to find the best all-around camera to use in the studio. So GH5, it's small, it's cheap. I mean, you could probably get one for like $1,200 now, and that's brand new. But
it is HDMI. Camera control, you do have it on a phone, but not tab related, not computer based. No tally lights.
No tally lights.
No talk back. So you're gonna have to do a lot to make this into a studio environment. Plus the screen is kind of small to see.
See, the thing about HDMI is you can only run that line so far before you'll start having problems. What is it, like 200 feet?
No, like 30 feet, 50 feet.
After 30 to 50 feet, what happens?
In my experience, it's just not reliable.
It's not reliable. The image pops in and out. I mean, you need to be able to have a reliable image at a distance, because when you're doing a live production, maybe you're at a concert and you have to run a couple 100 feet of cable, right?
Yeah, so it definitely has a good color for it, but for all the other things that you have to make it into a studio environment, don't know about it. I think we move on to Z-Cam.
All right, next camera.
The Z-Cam.
Z-Camera.
The Z-Camera was really a great purchase because it matched really well with my old Sony F5 when I had it, and it kind of blew me out of the water with the quality. It is super clean, no noise. The people at Z-Cam has really done a great job. I use it for the multi-camera in my studio every Thursday night. I do have to run it through a converter. I do have to put a tally light on it. But in the meantime, outstanding image, it really does. It has a little bit more, I would say, saturation and vibrance in it. So it kind of looks better than normal life. It just has a little bit of a punch to it. And it works really well. They do have a RAW, they have a log. Ron, you can add it to it. You got a Z camera too. After I bought my Z camera, you got a Z camera too. You got on the same bandwagon.
Yeah, no, I went and bought a Z camera after Mark bought a Z camera, and I was just like blown away by the image that's coming out of the camera. But also for the studio environment, I mean, you know, the upsides is it is small, similar to the GH5. It is a micro four thirds sensor like the GH5. I think it's almost the same sensor that's in it. You know, again, the downsides, it's HDMI out. There's no tally lights built in. There's no comms built in. Same with the GH5, no comms built in. And then the camera control on the Z camera, you actually can open up like a web page, and if you're on the same network as the Z camera, you can plug it right in with some Ethernet, and then you can control the camera. You just open up a tab, you put in the IP address of the camera, and then bam, you have camera control on your computer. Let's see, I can pull it up right there. There's the camera control. You can control pretty much every aspect of the camera through that. You could also use a tablet or a smartphone as well to connect.
I really like the camera control by computer, by browser. It's so important in a multicam environment when you're doing a live production to be able to have a little CCU. Obviously you can do a multicam without it, but man, it sure is nice that you can just tweak the camera settings, back in control, not having to talk to the operator whatsoever. They do have a lot of settings on the Z camera for that, but they don't have color wheels per se to really, you know, get in there and really fine tune the color. But it does have aperture shutter, and pretty much all the stuff you can control in the menu, you can control through the computer on a web browser. All right, I'd say move to the JVC.
Okay, now we're on the JVC. The thing about the JVC is it's the only camera in our cluster here that is a 1-inch sensor. But you know, it still looks pretty good right here on the screen. What do you have to say about it, Mark?
I gotta say the JVC 500 series is kind of a sleeper of a series, because you gotta remember these other cameras that we just talked about, you gotta buy a lens. The JVC comes complete right now at Arama, don't quote me on this right now, but you can get it just under $3,000. And that's a camera and lens, XLR, everything you possibly need. Plus it has streaming capabilities built right into the camera. And I totally love the CCU. I don't understand why the other manufacturers haven't been able to come up with a simple interface like the JVC when it comes to integrating a camera control unit. That's what CCU stands for. I mean, it is literally a tab. You see the image right there. You scroll down, you have everything you want. You want color wheel and white balance, everything is there. And also it's really nice because if you are setting up a stream like RTMP or anything like that, you can just literally copy paste the long RTMP in the web browser. You don't have to like manually put it in the camera. So it is really interesting how it all works. And I'm really impressed by it. It doesn't hold the image like a micro four thirds. You're gonna get quicker to the blowout, and the roll off on the knee, and the knee is part of the white, how white kind of rolls off. I haven't been able to tweak the settings, and I'm still learning a lot about the JVC. There's a lot there.
You see, I haven't really like messed with it too much, but it really seems like some of the controls on the side of the camera that you have to go like into the menu to get it to kind of behave properly. You know, like sometimes when you want to change like white balance on the fly, it's just like you have like a toggle switch, but it's not really giving you, like you have to go in and put like presets in there. It's not just letting you go, oh, white balance, oh, here, highlight it, go up and down to change your Kelvin or whatever. And I don't really see any presets on there like some of the other cameras where you have like, incandescent light and then outdoor light and shade and all that kind of stuff.
If you use it more, there are some presets. It actually operates like an older E and G camera where you gotta like press the white balance on A and then switch the little knob to B. It's kind of like older school style of it. But I'm a big fan of rolling K value myself, so I totally understand where you're coming from, Ron.
But anyways, we're gonna move on to the new Blackmagic Studio 4K Pro camera. Are we ready for this? 4. Okay.
Wow, I see a tally light, Ron.
Right, so one of the things about the Blackmagic that's awesome is it has a built-in tally lights. You gotta use a Blackmagic switcher in order for that whole system to work. But there's an SDI out that comes out of the camera into the switcher, and then there's another SDI in that goes from the switcher to the camera, and then you can do talkback, you can do tally lights. What else can you do?
Program out, program return.
Program return, so there's a little button on the Blackmagic program. So if you wanted to see what the program out was just out of curiosity, you can click on that button and it will show you what's on program.
So we just got this in and we're evaluating it from a rental. We don't actually own this one yet. So far, when we first got it, the color was off and so was like the gamma. So we had to get in there and kind of understand that, learn that. So there's a little bit of tweaking, I would say, out of the box for this.
Blackmagic out of the box had kind of like a washed out kind of color, kind of like it was almost a log.
But it wasn't. I mean, it was on a Sony Video gamma mode setting. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for this camera to grow. And in the studio environment, it's got talkback, it's got tally, it's got return, and it's going to come out with Ethernet that's going to power the whole thing and also have a return. So that's not out yet.
You'll have one Ethernet cord that'll give you
everything.
You'll get the image into the switcher. Is that right?
It gets the image, camera control, tally, talkback, and power,
all
and image. Yeah. It's kind of like SMPTE. It's like poor man's fiber. So you don't have to do the $25,000 camera with a nice SMPTE cord. So I think Blackmagic is kind of hitting it in a nice little point for a good price point for certain productions.
Yeah, it's like $1,750 for the 4K Pro model. It does have XLR outputs, which are a big plus. What's also nice is that it has like a nice 7-inch monitor on the back. The downside is the monitor doesn't tilt around or anything like that, but for most studio environments, it's not really necessary because most things are gonna be at head level or somewhere around there.
Yeah, I definitely would say that for studio environment, it definitely checks all the boxes and it's a big upgrade from the previous one. But with 3 of these, geared up in a talk show format, what I do on a Thursday night, kind of like public access 2.0, it's kind of fun thing we do. You really can't go wrong with it because I think it's just gonna be good. Here's my opinion. I'd like to see your comments. And so this is, maybe you could put a big graphic up. It's like Mark's opinion about how cameras shoot. Canon shoots on the red side. Sony shoots on the greenish side. And Blackmagic shoots on the brown side. And what I mean by that, if you look at images in general, the greens are always gonna be kind of cool looking in Sony's. Anything red, orange, tungsten, always gonna look pretty cool in, I would say, the Canon cameras. And then the brown, you've seen enough Blackmagic that there's brown, really brown, and not so brown with Blackmagic.
So what about GH5 and Z camera? Like
I think the GH5 shoots pretty close to a poor man's Alexa. I think the colors are kind of accurate on GH5 and punchy. And the Z cam, I think is more on the red side, more like a Canon. Like if you just get into I think the Z camera is between Canon and Blackmagic, honestly. I think the Z cam can go a little brownish, reddish. I think if you took Blackmagic and Canon and combined it, that's kind of the color space of Z camera. And I think the Panasonic is pretty neutral, believe it or not, color-wise. So that's my color opinion. I'd like to hear your color opinion. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I think like you said, like the Panasonic looks the most accurate, probably out of the 4 here. Yeah, Z camera is a little bit on the red. JVC, what do you think JVC's at?
I don't know. I'd have to use JVC a little bit more to really know, because I haven't really took the JVC out in the field that much. It's kind of been a studio queen.
Blackmagic's definitely brown.
Yeah.
You can it's a huge difference. You can see it right there. And what I'm looking at here is, out of all of these 4 cameras with all of the camera control, like the Blackmagic has got it really going on here. I mean, you can see it got all the color wheels here. You can do lift, gamma, gain. You can adjust all the exposure. And then, you know, you get even the tally light here on the camera when you're switching to the whatever camera it is, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And if you have all the cameras as these Blackmagic cameras, you can just click away and dial in your settings, and it's easy.
Bam! Okay, so wrapping up this awesome camera shootout. Thoughts? Well, I guess I'll start with the Blackmagic, or you want to start with the Z camera?
Let's start with the Z camera.
Z camera, go, Ron. Okay,
Z camera is great because the image quality is awesome. It has a really good tab-based CCU. It's tiny. Downsides, there's no XLR inputs, there's no tally light, there's no talkback.
Yeah.
It's HDMI only output, and a lot of the switchers, if you want to go long distances with your runs, HDMI isn't great for that. You want an SDI.
Yeah, I gotta say a couple things about that as well. The image on that comes off of that is outstanding. Everything else is a pain in the ass.
And then moving on to the Panasonic GH5, it's been around for a while, and just like the Z camera, it's got great image quality, and it is a great all-around camera for like running and gutting, mirrorless style camera shooting. Things that are the downsides, it's only HDMI out. What else? No XLR inputs, and what else? No talkback.
No tally.
No tally.
Plus, you gotta get a power adapter for it. Yeah. I mean,
you know.
It shoots a decent image though, for sure.
It does. It does shoot a great image.
Micro Four Thirds on both. Now we're getting to the 1-inch sensor that's in the mix of the 4 thirds. JVC really hit it out of the park when they designed this for the price point. You can pick these up as of now under $3,000 at Adorama. They retail a little bit more, but they kind of go on sale. The cool thing about this is it comes with a lens, it comes with XLR, it has a flip out LCD screen. Everything you expect a camcorder should have, it has.
Yeah, this does HDMI and SDI. Also, if you wanted to do like a nice smooth like zoom in or zoom out, it's got the nice little rocker arm zoom. These cameras, it's just all manual photo type lens zoom. So you're not gonna get like a smooth zoom. It's got autofocus. These cameras have autofocus, but they're not that great. So I would say that this JVC is a contender.
Moving on to the studio camera, this was designed one trick pony. This is the Blackmagic studio camera. So talking about the studio environment, the CCU can't be beat because it's integrated right in the ATEM. Everybody's known that, it's been in there for years. The tally light is nice and big, it's bold. It just works. You can have program coming in, program out. The monitor is nice and big on it, which is a pro, but also kind of a con because it doesn't articulate. So if you up here or down here, you're kind of at a disadvantage. But remember, this is designed for a studio environment. And the image quality out of the box, we had to tweak, honestly, and we're kind of still tweaking to kind of get it where it needs to be, but that's why you have a CCU. So I think this is a good environment camera for studio.
Yeah, what's cool about the tally light is not only does it show it up on the front, but also on the screen, there's actually a light, a red light there, and then it also says on air when you are live on that camera. What else is cool is it's got XLR inputs, it's got HDMI and SDI out. The SDI, there's an out and an in, so you can do the camera control with the ATEM.
But I think overall, I'm leaning to probably the Blackmagic for the studio to get a set of that. But I'm also, you know, the JVC's out there. But I gotta tell you, we're talking about $3,500. We're being recorded on the FX9. And no, none of these cameras come close to the FX9. So what we're gonna do is we've actually recorded some clips, 1-minute clips from each of these cameras. We want you guys to download them out there in YouTube land.
Yeah, we're gonna
take a look at them.
Links in the description for you to be able to download a clip from each camera that we recorded on the Atomos Shogun, and you'll be able to pixel pop and see which one that you like the best. And yeah, so give us your comments, your feedback, what you like the best. And
oh, and just to interrupt you too, the clips that you can download are 422 color space. So feel free to get in there and color correct and pixel pop them, just like you were saying. There are color space to 422.
And send us links to whatever you did in your color correction or your tests, so we can see how you did it, because you might have done it different than us.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so
like
make sure you like, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you get alerted whenever we post new videos. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.